The story begins 50 years after the world has fallen into ruin. Australia is now a dry desert wasteland, and civilization is long gone. Max, once a law officer, is captured by a group known as the War Boys. They serve a powerful and cruel leader named Immortan Joe. Joe controls a fortress called the Citadel, built around one of the last sources of water. Max is labeled as a universal blood donor and locked in a cage. He is forced to give blood to a sick war boy, named Nux, and becomes nothing more than a living blood bag. Meanwhile, in another part of the wasteland, a tough warrior named Furiosa drives a massive armored truck known as the War Rig. She is sent on a supply run to a place called Gas Town. But something's wrong. She suddenly changes direction, and this sets off alarm bells. Back at the Citadel, Immortan Joe realizes the truth. Furiosa has taken his 5 wives, a young and healthy women he kept for breeding. Enraged, Joe gathers his army of war boys, including his large and brutal son Rictus, and gives chase. As the engines roar to life, Nux joins the pursuit. Max is still chained to the front of Nux's car, forced to ride into battle as a human blood supply. Meanwhile, a violent battle breaks out when Furiosa War Rig enters a hostile area. Ruled by the Buzzards, a dangerous scavengers from the wasteland, they launch an attack with their own mini war rig, attempting to stop her. However, Furiosa and the war boys manage to fight off the attackers and escape. In an attempt to lose her pursuers, Furiosa drives straight into a massive sandstorm. The swirling dust and lightning create chaos across the desert. But, during the storm, her escort realizes she has betrayed Immortan Joe. As a result, they turn on her, shocked and angry. At the same time, Nux tries to sacrifice himself and still believes that dying in battle will take him to Valhalla. He speeds toward the war rig, planning to crash his car and cause an explosion that will destroy the truck. Fortunately, Max breaks free just in time. He stops Nux and manages to restrain him. The war rig crashes into the car and destroyed, but Max survives the impact. After the storm settles, Max wakes up in the desert. He sees Furiosa working on her damaged rig. Meanwhile, the 5 wives clean themselves with water and remove the painful fanged metal belts. Then, Max tries to take control. He fights Furiosa and the wives and steals the war rig. However, the truck shuts down because of a hidden kill switch. Max has no choice but to let Furiosa and the wives stay with him. Later, as they continue driving toward a narrow canyon, the rig suddenly begins to drag its trailer. The issue is that the fuel pod's hydraulic brake connector has come loose, which causes the trailer wheels to lock up. It turns out, Nux had secretly tampered with the truck and attacks them again. But this time, Max quickly overpowers him and throws him out of the rig. Finally, Nux returns to Immortan Joe. He brings back a torn piece of cloth, part of a dress from one of the wives, as proof of their direction. Soon after, Furiosa drives the war rig into a dangerous area known as Rock Rider territory. She had previously made a deal with the biker gang there, offering them gasoline in exchange for safe passage. The trailer is said to carry nearly 3,000 gallons of fuel. However, Immortan Joe and his forces are not far behind. As they close in, Furiosa is forced to flee. The bikers then detonate explosives along the canyon wall, trying to block Joe's path and honor their agreement with Furiosa. Even so, the battle continues. In the meantime, Max and Furiosa work together to fight off the bikers, keeping the rig moving forward. But Immortan Joe's massive vehicle manages to break through the falling rubble and catches up to them. As the fight intensifies, Nux climbs back onto the war rig, still trying to prove his worth. At the same time, Immortan Joe takes aim at Furiosa with a rifle. In a brave moment, Ingrid, one of Joe's wives who is also visibly pregnant, steps in front of Furiosa to protect her, but is tragically killed when she slips and falls under the wheels of the vehicle, leaving the other wives in shock and grief. Back at the Citadel, Joe's main doctor, known as the Organic Mechanic, attempts to save Ingrid's unborn baby, but sadly it's too late. The child is already dead after being removed from the womb. As they continue their journey, Furiosa finally opens up to Max. She tells him they're heading toward a place called the Green Place of Many Mothers, a land she remembers from her memory, which filled with life and hope. Meanwhile, Nux is overwhelmed with guilt. He feels responsible for the death of Ingrid. Capable, one of the remaining wives, finds him in a broken state. Touched by his pain, she comforts him and offers kindness. Later that night, the war rig becomes stuck in deep sludge. It's heavy and hard to move. While the team tries to push forward, Max and Furiosa work together to delay Joe's approaching forces using explosives. However, the danger doesn't end there. One of Joe's key allies, the bullet farmer, breaks away from the group and continues the chase on his own. He's heavily armed and determined to stop them. Just in time, Nux steps up and helps free the rig from the mud, allowing the group to move again. Furiosa then takes a shot in the dark and manages to blind the bullet farmer. In response, the bullet farmer fires wildly with his machine guns and explosives, turning the night into a blaze of light. But Max decides to handle it himself, so he ventures out alone into the dark and tracks down the bullet farmer. After a fierce confrontation, Max returns with bruised, but alive, carrying weapons and ammunition taken from the enemy. As the sun rises, the war rig continues its journey across a mix of swampland and open desert. The group travels in silence, tired but determined. Suddenly, they spot a lone naked woman in the distance. Max quickly warns that it could be a trap. However, Furiosa steps down from the rig and approaches her, declaring her clan name and proving her identity. To everyone's surprise, the woman named Vaklia recognizes her. She signals a group of desert bikers hiding nearby. These women are part of the Vuvalini clan. After a heartfelt reunion, Furiosa explains that she was kidnapped as a child along with her mother by Immortan Joe. The Vuvalini are shocked but glad to see her alive. Sadly, Furiosa also learns the truth. The swamp they passed earlier was once the green place of many mothers. But now, it's become a poisoned wasteland, unfit for life. The dream of returning home is gone. Still, the group doesn't give up. They decide to ride their motorbikes across the vast salt plains, hoping to find a new place to live. At first, Max chooses to stay behind. But after seeing haunting visions of glory, he changes his mind. Then, Max comes up with a bold plan. He tells the group to go back to the Citadel, the one place that still has water, plants, and hope. If they act fast, they can trap Joe and his army in the canyon controlled by the biker clan. With their minds made up, the group turns back and begins the journey toward the Citadel. Along the way, they encounter Immortan Joe and what remains of his army waiting to stop them. A fierce battle begins between both sides, filled with chaos and desperation. During the fight, Furiosa is seriously wounded, struggling to stay alive as the war rig pushes forward. Meanwhile, Joe positions his massive vehicle in front of the rig, trying to slow it down. At the same time, Max ends up in a brutal fight with Joe's powerful eldest son Rictus. In the heat of battle, Toast the Knowing is captured and placed on Joe's car, but she stays calm and uses the moment to distract him. Thanks to her quick thinking, Furiosa finds the opening she needs. She reaches over and hooks Joe's breathing mask to the spinning wheels of his car. The mask is violently yanked, tearing off Joe's lower jaw and killing him instantly. Just moments later, Nux makes the ultimate sacrifice. He crashes the war rig into the narrow canyon, destroying it and blocking the path. This move kills Rictus and stops Joe's army from following. Because of Nux's brave act, Max, Furiosa and the surviving wives escape using Joe's vehicle. Finally, Furiosa is near death from her injuries. Max steps in and gives her a blood transfusion with the help of the DAG. His blood helps stabilize her, giving her a chance to survive. At the Citadel, the people cheer when they see Immortan Joe's broken body. His death marks the end of his harsh rule, and the beginning of something new. As the crowd celebrates, Furiosa and the wives are lifted upward on a large platform. The young war boys help raise them, showing that even they are ready for change. Meanwhile, Max stays in the background. He and Furiosa exchange a quiet, meaningful glance, a moment of respect between two survivors. Then, without saying a word, Max turns away and walks into the crowd, disappearing into the world once more.